Thank you all for coming. We will call the meeting to order. I believe we will. Just so it's clear, because it's not on the agenda, the order of business, we will start with the roll call, and then we'll have a reading of a presentation by the executive director and the reading of the resolution for consideration by the commissioners. Once the resolution is ready, the chair will entertain a motion to move it. A second will then occur, and then we'll have discussion. And after discussion, there will certainly be an opportunity to vote yea or nay. So that appears to me to be the order of business. So we're all clear. But we'll start first with the roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Matthews.
Present.
Commissioner Hill.
Present.
Commissioner Griebel. Here. Commissioner Texador.
Here.
Mayor Bronin.
Here.
Council President Clark.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. Executive Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to the authority's instructions at the special meeting last week, we have been in contact with the surety bond carrier on the stadium project, Arch Insurance Company. We invited them to attend a meeting the first 2 business days of this week. They were unavailable for such a meeting, but have proposed meeting next Tuesday on the 31st, and we're proceeding with that plan. We thought in order to keep the process moving forward crisply, however, that we should seek empowerment from the authority to take such action as is necessary to perfect our rights and assert our rights under the bond, as well as any other actions that may be necessary to keep this project on track. Our intention, following proceeding such power, would be to formally invoke the bond, inform the surety carrier in writing that there has been a default under the contract. We would expect in that circumstance that Centerplan would remain obligated to continue work on the project as they have been doing, and would then work with the surety bond carrier to make sure that the project is finished and is finished without further financial outlay by the state.
Good. Thank you.
If you'd like, I can read the resolution that the staff would propose to the authority.
Please do so.
Resolved that the Executive Director and Corporation Counsel are directed to take all actions necessary to assert the authority's rights under any surety bond issued in connection with the stadium project. And it is further resolved that the Executive Director and Corporation Counsel are directed to take such additional actions as are necessary to achieve completion of the stadium as soon as possible without further financial outlays by the authority or the City of Hartford beyond amounts remaining in the project fund.
Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to move the resolution.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Mr. Green.
Mr. Chairman, through you to the Executive Director, just a verification from prior conversations we have. This resolution is consistent with both the bylaws of the authority, articles of incorporation, and the indenture itself. This is in some ways a reaffirmation of the authorities that exist already. Is that a reasonably fair statement? And if I could, just one comment. Go ahead. The one comment I just wanted to make, Mr. Chairman, in making sure that this is consistent with where the mayor, the executive director, has said is obviously consistent with the administration, is just this language in the second resolution about how important it is that we take all the steps necessary to ensure that no additional monies to complete the project are coming from the taxpayers. I want to make sure that we, both individually and the organization I represent, are supportive of the action, and that it's critical, given the challenges we already know we're going to face in funding the indentures, funding the annual payment. It's critical that the city not be exposed to any further financial liability. So I just want to be sure sure that from my particular standpoint, that particular language is critical to the support of the resolutions.
Thank you. Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you. Mr. Executive Director, can you actually walk me through the actual timeline? Because my concern is that, of course, the time as far exceeded the actual contracting date. We have a statement that's near completion. I don't think that the taxpayers want anything to be caught up in court, whereas we're going to have an incomplete stadium. The team won't be able to play ball. Revenue won't be coming into the city as what's been projected as far as our revenue projection. So how long will all this take? When do you think we can expect to actually have a completed stadium for June 7th and July 1st as a date? So can you just walk me through that?
Certainly, Council President. First of all, it's impossible to predict with specificity what the timing impact will be. If we had confidence that the contractor with the current level of work that's being done in the stadium could finish the stadium within a matter of a few weeks, we would probably not be taking this step. There are concerns, and everyone who had looked at it is concerned that the level of work at the stadium has dropped since the maximum effort a few weeks ago, and that there's still substantial work to be completed. One of the ideas of involving the surety is to make sure that they come in to provide additional construction oversight to make sure that the project is done correctly as quickly as possible. We also anticipate that because of the added time involved, there's a possibility that the city will be submitted additional change orders or requests for funding in addition to the amounts in the project fund, and we hope to forestall that by invoking the bond and putting the application where it belongs.
Mr. Chairman, I have another question. Per the contract, it states that if they miss a date, they pay $50,000 and then $15,000 a day. Has that been evoked? Have we collected any type of fees for that? And if we have, why this course of action?
We did formally in writing demand the payment of the liquidated damages you mentioned. As of yet, none have been received, which constitutes a default under the relevant rules.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to state that I'm in full support of this resolution. As you said, Mr. Grable, this resolution really just affirms authority that probably already exists for the Corporation Council Executive Director to act on the Stadium Authority's behalf. But I think it's important for the Stadium Authority to jointly express their views on the general subject of the surety bond, as well as to reaffirm that the Corporation Council and the Executive Director can act on his behalf. Our paramount interest has to be ensuring that there is no additional financial burden on the City of Hartford, and that we get the stadium completed as quickly as possible. I think those priorities need to be ranked in that order. The most important thing is to ensure that we are protecting the taxpayers of Hartford. We want to obviously get the stadium finished as quickly as possible. Based on the level of progress we've seen, based on the fact that multiple dates have now been given and have been missed, I think there is generally a lack of confidence that we can rely on any of the schedules or assurances that we've been hearing from the developer. And because of that, we have to make clear formally to the surety that the surety has an obligation to step in and make sure that the work is completed as quickly as possible and to bear any cost beyond the costs that have been agreed to already. I think it's important to state that even as we call it surety bonds, we are not terminating CenterPlan or terminating Dono. They continue to have an obligation, a duty to complete the stadium. I hope that they begin working at the faster pace that they were working at some weeks ago, which appeared to slow down even before they hit the 17th. So they remain under an obligation to stay on the job, to pay their subcontractors, and to complete the stadium as quickly as possible. The surety, when we formally give notice on this resolution, will also, in our view, have an obligation to step in and ensure that all of those obligations of the contractor are met.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Was that another comment, Mr. President? Ms. Clark.
I just want to be assured that we have exactly taken every step, every measure possible before we get to this route, and and that we have exhausted all our options as to going down this route, because the last thing that we need is to have this stop the progress of the stadium.
I believe we have, Mr. Council President, looking at
Let me just say to Mr. Clark, this has been a long road. We started out back in February of 2015 with a contract in which Dono said they had the experience and capacity to build a stadium. We issued them a $56 million contract to do so. For 8-9 months during the course of 2015, at every single meeting we raised the question, are you on time? Are you on budget? We were assured that on time, on budget. In December of 2015, we discovered that Dono was not on time, and they had $10.3 million gap in the budget. There was a lot, you may recall, Mr. Clark coming up on council at that time. There was a lot of finger pointing back and forth, and we determined that we would raise the funds necessary to keep the stadium going, only because we didn't want to lose time. We're very concerned about not completing the stadium. So the money came, we came up with the money. The yacht boats kicked in some money. The mayor brought city money to the table. Dono brought money to the table. They got their money. And then we said to them, give us a date on when you can complete the stadium. We didn't say, here's a date for completion. We said, give us a date. And at that point in time, Dono said, we can complete the stadium by May 17th and play baseball by May 31st. That was their representation. We relied on that representation. Then, you were at the last meeting in April. We raised the question again to the Dono representatives whether they would make May 17th. They assured us that they would make May 17th. Now, it's reasonable to say we didn't think so, but nevertheless, they insisted they could make May 17th. And since they know more about the project than any person sitting at this table, we basically said, okay. Then we found out on May 18th that was not the case. So, and even though the yacht bills gave them an extended 7 days to complete the stadium through May 24th, to date, we have still not received a revised schedule that we can believe in. We have still not received a revised budget that we can believe in. They have not paid liquidated damages, even though they said they would. So, in answer to your question, Mr. Clark, this is the only option we have. It's our duty to make sure that we protect the interests of the taxpayers, the citizens of the city, the stadium authority, the administration, and we need some, what I would call, supervision at the table. One thing that's clear to me, once we have the surety at the table, then we can deal with an entity that has some construction experience, that have some funds, in case there is a question of additional funds, and we can get this stadium built. As the mayor alluded to, our first obligation is to play baseball this year. That's our first obligation. But God knows we can't play baseball if we can't finish the stadium. And we need to finish the stadium, and we need to get the stadium done this year. So I concur with the executive director and the mayor. The only recourse we have at this point is to call the bond. Call the bond, bring the surety to the table, and get this project done. Because there's no way we can go back to the city, and I concur in that, and request additional funds. This needs to be done right away. The public is demanding that we finish this job, and we need to finish it.
I would be remiss, thank you for the explanation. I would be remiss if we don't outline to the public as to the actual process of calling the bond and providing a timeline so that the people can understand exactly what that process entails.
Mr. Council President, the typical process would be we will make the formal demand in writing. We will presumably meet with the surety early next week, as they have suggested, and then they will take some number of weeks to investigate the claim and determine how to take the project to completion. We don't know whether that is going to be a matter of a few weeks or longer. There's no way to predict. That will depend on the surety and how they look at the claim once they've had a chance to investigate. But the initial phase will be a few weeks' time.
If I may, so just to re-emphasize once again, in that period, whatever period of investigation the surety takes, Donald and Center Plan have a continuing obligation to build. And if they can get the stadium done before that, then we can all avoid having to deal with the surety down the line. But they have an obligation to continue to build. They have an obligation to build as quickly as possible. They're past the performance date. They are about to pass revised dates that they had suggested, and they need to make sure that they're building as quickly as possible, even as surety, their surety is investigating and making their judgment about their responsibility.
You have questions, sir?
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chairman. A lot of nerves are frayed. This is a horrible situation, a lot of frustration. And there is, to the executive director's response to the city council president, a possibility in baseball. But we have to be honest about that as a possibility. I think the point that we all, several of us, including you, emphasized back in December when we went through the first time, is to make sure that as challenging and horrible as the situation is, this is a 25-year deal. It is going to be a first-class ballpark when it is finished. It will keep a major league franchise here beyond the original commitment date, and it will be a great amenity and a great asset for the city in this region. And I think it's an important thing. We stand that what we can't do, and beat the dead horse one more time, is take on additional financial liability for the city. The other thing I would just say is we remain optimistic that with the administration and the city council, that when the stadium is finished, we can move on to the rest of that project, which has always been a major motivator for many of us, the completion of the entire donor, or at least the start of that project. So as we look at this, and as frustrated as we all are, is to make sure that we remind ourselves of the long-term years.
Well said. If there are no more comments, the chair will call the question.
Chairman Matthews.
Yes. Yes, it is a vote to pass the resolution, so it's clear to everyone.
Commissioner Hill. Aye. Commissioner Grable. Aye. Commissioner Tessitore.
Aye.
The resolution passes 4-0.
Thank you. If there's no more business before us, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Been moved.